Hello and welcome to the Evolution of the Fempreneur podcast, the go-to resource for women who want to grow a successful business. Our mission is to empower and support women on their entrepreneurial journeys by providing valuable insights, practical tips, and a supportive community of like-minded women. Each episode of the Evolution of the Fempreneur podcast features interviews with successful fempreneurs, business experts, and thought leaders, as well as a solo episode from our host. That's me, Wonderful Morrison, brand and marketing coach, business expert, and online business educator. If you're already on your entrepreneurial journey and seeking to take your business to the next level, the Evolution of the Fempreneur podcast has something for you. Join our community of empowered women and gain the knowledge, skills, and confidence you need to succeed in your entrepreneurial endeavors. Thank you for tuning in to the Evolution of the Fempreneur podcast. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Evolution of the Fempreneur. And I am so excited about who we have as a guest today, because here's the thing. You know, we so often talk about vibration and how we're all energy and vibrational matching with each other. And when you meet that person that has that same gust in life and you're matching on each other's level, when I met this woman, I thought, oh my gosh, I've met my sister from another mister. Like, we talk fast, we talk loud, we talk big, and our dreams are big and bold and all this whole thing. And it's just like this. We're like two fireworks going on at the same time. And now you get to have both of us together in here that you could listen to and replay over and over again, because she is the light in everybody's fire. And if you don't have her, you need to have her as the spark to your light, because she literally lives out the very thing she teaches. She embodies. And I know that's like, well, doesn't all coaches do that? Not really. So I just want to say that she's the real deal. And so I'm not going to introduce her of what she does, because like all of you, I want to hear it firsthand also, who she is, where she's at, and her story of evolution. So without further ado, please welcome Jackie Cote.
Thank you so much for having me, Wonderful. And you hit it on the head. I remember when you introduced yourself and you're like, Wonderful, and that's not a stage name, that's my real name. I was like, I love her already. Don't need to know anything else. So we are definitely see things very similarly, and yet we get to execute it in our own way. You know, we get to have that same light and vibe, but we get to own who we are individually, and do it our way, and still have just as much impact. I love that. So I'm your freedom mentor, and I'm really passionate about helping you as an individual awaken, empower, and own who the heck you are meant to be on this earth, and create that freedom life that you truly desire. Because I don't know about you. Well, I do know about you, but you've been an entrepreneur for most of your life. But when it comes to growing up in like the job world and the work world, like we were very much taught, like, work really hard, and then at 65 you can enjoy life, right? Like you can go and enjoy life. I did 30 years of that in the restaurant industry, and I ended up realizing now, fast forward in my own business, that we get to create a retirement life now, like a life of everything that we always were sold in retirement. We get to live it now, no matter what age we are, and create the wealth and success and fit it into the life. The life is more important, because tomorrow, if you die tomorrow, can you honestly say that you are fulfilled and love your life? That's more important. I like to say, you've heard it, like, what's the dash? Are you okay?
Yes.
Like, what does your dash feel and look like? And are you okay tomorrow if you passed away? And that's kind of what I thought.
And so that's a great way for me to ask. So when you were in this industry for 30 years and then the dash came up, right? Walk us through the evolution of what that meant to you and why the nomad life. like of all the things you could have picked, right?
Right.
What is the
Let me
evolution of that?
let me start by saying, for those of you who don't know me, I live in an RV full time with my new husband and 2 dogs, and we travel the country. We don't have a home base. We have an address in South Dakota, and we've never lived there. If you ever have questions about that, just message me. But this was not like something that since I was a kid, because we had a childhood trip where my parents decided to try to take, out of 8 kids, they took 6 of us and them in an RV from Jersey to Florida. And it was the most traumatic trip I've ever taken in my life. So when I think back about that, I'm like, I never ever dreamed of like, let me live in an RV, because I never wanted to live in an RV after that trip. I didn't want anything to do with an RV. But how did I end up here, right? So that dawned on me, wonderful. That dawned on me like just a couple months ago. I was like, how did I end up in an RV when that was just the worst trip ever? we were fighting, it's funny. But anyway, how did I end up here from the restaurant industry? Well, I ended up going to college for teaching, and I tried to do what I'm supposed to be doing, get a good job, benefits, all that stuff, and step into the teaching world. And I taught for like a year, and I was like, God bless the teachers. I want to give shout outs to every one of them, their heart and soul. But when it comes to me, I knew that wasn't something that I was going to do for the next 30 years. Because when you do that, you're dedicated for, a good life to really have a great career. And then that's when the restaurant business kind of scooped me up, and something that I didn't realize I was a natural at until a handful of years into it. When I was 15, like a little Italian bakery in Jersey threw me the keys and said, you're going to run the place at night. You're going to run the night shift. And then first of all, I'm 15. That's illegal now. But that's Jersey, right? That's Jersey. Because you can do illegal things in Jersey, but
it's its own country. It's its own country.
They pay under the table. I don't want to tell you about it. Don't tell me. I won't tell you who I know. All that stuff. But from that day, like everyone saw this like quality in me that could lead other people. And then on top of it, I was able to like see what other people couldn't see in themselves. And they were able to like, through me, see what it is that was possible for them. And over the 30-year career, I promoted like 300 plus people and moved them into higher levels in their industries, like with Starbucks and Outback and larger companies. And what I loved about it, because let me tell you, it was not time freedom. And I call freedom
right.
Not time
oh my
freedom.
gosh.
Right.
Especially that industry.
Freedom.
That industry is hungers for your every second.
Yeah. They tell you a minimum hours is 55. Like you sign a contract that says you will work a minimum of 55 hours. And I remember as I got wiser and older in that industry, I like figured out that it can get done in 40. It could get done, and then you could like, I could get the same numbers and have the same production and same stellar results on less hours. So I started to teach other people that, that you get to do it. Like it gets to be easier than what they say it is. And so I didn't recognize throughout that 30 years that I had such a freedom core to me of like, I traveled the country for companies. I did restaurant openings all over the place. While I was developing these people, I would do all this freedom orientated things. And I always try to like do it my way, like break the barriers and get out of the box, if you want to call it. And but I was still in a box. There's still limitations when in that realm. And we just, talked about that. So to make a long story short, my last 2 years of that industry, I decided to take a change out of operations, which was my heart and soul and my skills, my talents, my gifts, and stepped into a corporate office position. And that was like putting an animal in a cage. So when I get to behind a desk, I laugh because I butted heads because of what I was doing wasn't in my magic. I was behind a computer. Ironically, I'm behind a computer all the time now. I was working with like creating documents.
By
choice.
I was in a
corporate office. By choice. Exactly. That's the difference. That's exactly where we're going to get to. And it's like, but then after 2 years of that, I was just unfulfilled, unhappy, miserable. And then, universe stepped in and I got let go, and I got fired from that job 2 months after I discovered this industry called coaching. And I don't know about you, but I didn't know anything about coaching. Like I didn't know.
Zero.
I know, right? I was like football coach, soccer coach, I didn't know about this, like, what is this thing called? So my friend said to me, he said, everything that you're really good at, you could do in your own business. And I was like, what?
Mhm.
So then I went to a function that showed me other coaches. I met other coaches doing it. I met other people. So possibility. I was in this predictable
Yeah.
life that I knew for 30 years. I knew what I was good at. I could do it. Da, da, da. And then I saw a
Yeah.
possibility of what else is possible. And that just opened up. And when they fired me 2 months later, I would have never left that industry. Thank God they fired me. It was the best day of my
Mm.
life because I would have never left because it's what I knew, it was what I was comfortable, because we like to stay where we're
Yeah.
comfortable. And
Yeah.
this combination of seeing the possibility of what else I could do with my gifts and my talents and my
Mhm.
what God gave me, and the combination of getting kicked out. I was literally like walked down the stairs like a criminal with my box, and
Wow.
I wasn't allowed to, and it wasn't anything dramatic. It was just I wasn't meeting expectations and they were letting people go and they let me go. But they walked me out like a criminal and I was like, huh, I feel really good about this. I just lost a major income. I lost all my benefits. I should be really scared right now. And don't get me wrong, I
Right?
was, but I was also excited at the same time. So that was the
Yeah.
kickoff of my journey to this. And if I would love
So
to tell you
let
like a month later I had a business, but that's not true.
so let's just reflect on that, ladies. Like, I just want the audience to know that it seemed at the time that your life was imploding in a way that is really freaky and scary. It's a scary territory. But what you did with that is where really the evolution begins, because um so many times, we often think that when the whole thing burns down, you're just watching it going, I gotta start over again. Like, you're not 20 anymore. You're not at that, there's all of these, there's the responsibilities of life. And so it kind of just eats you up to where, like, the next step is to cover that. So to cover, like, the basics of life, paying your bills and eating and living and all of that. What was that moment for you where the evolution really sparked Jackie, the freedom mentor? Like, what was
Mm.
that? Walk us through that.
So funny when that like questions like that get asked, and I know you've experienced this. Like what was the moment? And I'm like, moments. There was like a lot of them, and
Oh,
it's a culmination
yeah.
of a lot of things that come together. And until you until you're there, you don't know how you got there. Like it's
You're
one of those
right.
things of like, I have no idea how I got here, but I know how I got here. And that sounds so like
Yes.
weird.
Yes.
Um, I would say a couple things. One, it was seeing the possibility of what's possible. That was the first thing when I mentioned earlier of other people, if other people can do this, so can I. Like if other people
Mm,
have a business on their own, working, flexible, get to from a laptop anywhere they want, helping people doing it is what they love to do and what they're, well, if they can do it, so can I. So that was the first thing, is like I surrounded myself around with people who felt the same way or were in the same realm,
mm-hmm,
and I
mm-hmm,
wasn't around people like that in my old industry. It was very closed, it was very boxed. And as soon as I
mm,
was able to put myself in that realm and surround myself, like I went to health and life coach schooling. I went to all this, the different things schooling, and then I hired a coach. So that's the second thing, was finding somebody who did what I want. Like, and when I found her, I was
mm.
like, she had what I wanted to create, what I had, the possibilities that I saw, and
Yeah.
and you know what I mean. And so she was stepping into that, and I don't know if you'll like this, because I know you help people with business like this phenomenally, because there's so many people that rave about you in that capacity.
Oh,
And
thank you.
but how many people come to you about business? You're welcome. How many people come to you and say, okay, show me how to build a business, and in your back of your mind you're like, yep, we're gonna have to crack open that, and we're gonna have to crack open that, and we're gonna have to crack open that. So when I told my coach, I was like, all right, teach me how to build what you built, right? Like, just tell me the
Yeah.
strategy, all the strategy. And something that I like, what I do is I do the 80%, which is between our two ears. That's my magic, is helping people with that so they can implement the
Amen.
strategies, right? And so she
Yeah.
laughed at me a little bit, giggled a little, and I was like, I don't know why she's giggling, but whatever. And 9 months later, I was like, girl, you made me cry more. I am 47. You've made me cry more in 40 years than I've done in 40 years. And I say that with love because she helped me release what it was that was holding me back so
Yes.
that I could do the strategy. And so
Yes.
that was one of the moments as I was healing myself and learning how to love myself and be with myself and not avoid myself, because
Right.
I think a lot of the crowd listening could probably relate to we work so hard, so much, so many hours, and the only reason we're doing
Yeah.
that, whether it's with our families, taking care of families, businesses, whatever, is because we're avoiding being with ourselves and the power that we
Right.
have. And I
Yeah.
did not want to be with myself.
Absolutely. And you made a statement that I think should be on t-shirts all over the world that I just feel like the whole world right now needs to hear it, is when you said you don't have to hustle for your magic. That is, because there's a difference between saying like, oh, you don't have to hustle for your worth. Worth is almost a tangible thing, right? You can always put a number on it or a time frame on it. But magic is this like elusive energy source that we all know we possess, but we just don't know how to get there,
Yep.
right? And what you're saying is when we're busy, 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 busy doing, it's really we're hustling for our magic. That's
Yeah.
what that really is. And when you said it, I thought, oh man, I'd rock that shirt so hard. Stop hustling for
Okay.
your magic.
Note to self. Gotta write that down.
Yeah. Because that's the truth, is it's not about worth and it's not about value necessarily. Those are important components, but your magic is something only you possess. No one else can sit in that space. No one can
No one.
duplicate that, replicate it.
Nope.
Not even your own children, not even people who came from you can do that. So
Mm-mm.
I really think that what you're saying right now too is moves into the Jackie you have becoming and becoming and becoming. So
Mhm.
now you're like, all right, I'm crying it out. I'm in my late 40s. This is it. What are we doing? And, but there's still some fear in there of like, this is not nothing. I know nothing over here. So walk us through what it feels like when you're scared and excited and you can't really tell the difference at this point, but you're still moving forward. And
I
then
love
is
that.
that what got you into the RV?
No, not quite, not quite. But close. So one thing I want to say about what you just mentioned about magic is like only one person can be the expert at being you. And like
Mm-hmm.
you are the expert at being you. When people say like, what am I gonna like how can I be the expert and da da da, I'm like, nobody can be the expert at you. So I just want to remind everybody that
Yeah.
like when it comes to you creating something from your gifts and your magic, it's like no one can be you. So thank you for saying that, because
Mm.
that should be on a t-shirt too.
Yes.
That's so important to know. And helping like owning that, and it takes there's a journey to owning that. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
when you were saying am I still scared? So my first 9 months of like, all right, let's build this business. I was like, let's use the word hustle again. I was hustling. I was meeting everybody. I was doing one-on-ones. I was like busy everywhere, nights, weekends, all over the place. And I was not making any money. It was like 9 months of me like me. And we analyzed what it was. I mean, it came down to I wasn't making any offers. So that
Mm.
helps. But the reason why I wasn't is because I was so tied into wanting to stay in that life that the old stories, like the life of working really hard. And that means the harder I work, the more money I make and all that stuff. And I was scared money was going down, debt was going up. Like that
Mm.
was a dynamic, and that's a whole nother money story in there. And the reason why I tell you guys that, like, what you see is what you get. I will always tell you any story, anything you want to know about me. And there's nothing, I don't hide anything. And
And
so when I
that's
got,
true. I just want to
yeah,
back that statement up. That's so true. That is so you.
I always say, like, find me on Facebook and you will see my whole life. It's a digital diary of everything that I do, all that I believe, everything that I think. I can turn a peanut butter and jelly sandwich into a story. So we have fun, right? So there was this point where I was like, gosh, like I was trying to control everything. And then I think this, as
Mm,
women, we think we want to be in control of everything. And there was this moment where I finally learned through something that my coach had me do, was to trust and surrender. And there was this
mm,
little exercise of time. And she was like, what schedule do you want to work? And to make a long story short, she's like, I said 10 to 4, and I giggled. I'm like, 10 to 4, Monday through Friday, no weekends, no nights. And I just like, well, no Fridays, won 3 days off. And I like went to this little like, you know, joke in my head. And she's like, okay, let's do it. I was like, what? That's not possible. You know, I work 90 hours a week, 70 hours a week, right? So I ended up following that. And she's like, anybody who wants to put something on your schedule, you got to put them out 2 months from now. I'm like, what? I'm not making money now. If I don't work, how am I going to make money? If you tell me I can't schedule that person, that's a possible money scarcity.
mm.
So that month, I listened to my schedule and I was like, what do I do with all this time? And she's like, you're just going to go do things like, you know, walk the dogs, take a bath, read a book, sit by the lake. I love water. Sit by the lake, go call a friend, go see a friend. And I was like, okay. Like we talked about this before the call, right? We're like, what do you do with all this time? And I was like, so I did it and I worked less, and it was September 2019 and October 2019. I made $3,000, my first $3,000 month. And I was like, oh, what? I worked less and I made more. And I was like, that's a fluke. That's a coincidence. She's like, let's do it again. So my schedule got less and less. And the next month I made 5. And the next December, the month nobody spends money, I made 6,500. And within 3 months, I increased my income and worked like half of what I was doing. My schedule, like I was like, I didn't know what to do with all my time, right? And that just taught me the trusting and surrendering. Like lean in to what the front end process, enjoy the heck out of it, do what brings you joy, and have fun with it. Meet people, tell them what you do, make offers, and then lean back and surrender
Right.
to the how, the when, the results. And when we do the opposite is when we're in struggle and hustle. If we can just trust and surrender is when the magic really happens. And then on top of owning the ownership of who we are, like we talked about earlier.
And so as you're going through this, did you kind of have an idea of what your business was going to look like, or because you were already in it, you were already doing it, but so much more of I'm an advocate of you can teach only what you have experienced and what you've been through, right? So now you're such a, when I think of freedom, I think Jackie, because that's been your brand for so long. Freedom, 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 freedom. And we can define that in any which way we want, individually, as a concept, as a whole community. But you've always stuck so much to that, and you keep showing up in that freedom. So tell us like how you decided what programs, because there's a lot of people that are probably listening going, oh my God, I have 8,000 programs. I don't know which one is mine, you know, whatever. Or like they're afraid to even start a program because it's like, have I really actually been through all of that kind of thing? So
Right.
what was your transition into how you were coaching and what you were coaching?
This is a great question because I'm going to probably go against what everybody is learning out there. Because I'm very passionate about being free with what aligns with you and deciding to stay true to you. And where that comes from is you've got to move and take action before you know how to do the thing. Like you've got to go, and you learn by doing. You don't learn by just sitting and thinking about it and processing it and creating. You gotta, like, so for me, it was sitting with 100 people and having one-on-one conversations and really figuring out to answer your question about my business, it started one-on-one. And that was my tree trunk of my business. That was my foundation. That was what's going to build the income that was going to keep me from going back and getting a job.
Right.
And that, by doing like discovery call after discovery call, I really I learned what my magic was, and I learned what people needed and what they desired by being in my magic. And if it wasn't for me doing those calls, I could have sat and just thought about, like, you know, we we getting ready to get ready to get ready, and then we never take action. Like that. So, but here's like the thing. I just said this to someone the other day. I said, I wish everybody could be at that stage where they didn't know too much. Because when we don't know too much, we just go and we're willing to go and we're not afraid. But once we get into this world, there's so much noise and there's so much stuff out there. And then we learn so much and we take so many courses and so many things and so many and we hear so many voices, we forget our own. We lose our own voice. And so what I loved about my methodology of figuring this thing out is I was building the plane as we were flying, right? And so I was putting the wing on, so I would meet with people. I discovered, so I do one-on-one. From the one-on-ones, I created group programs. I said, okay, if these 3 one-on-one clients all have this same issue with XYZ, I'm going to create a program on it. And then I would do like a 5 or 6 week program for it. And then I would go, okay, these people need community. But I will say in the very beginning, my coach, I wanted to do it all. I wanted to do like the mastermind, the one-on-one, the membership, the retreats.
Right.
And she mailed me a little book that said ideas on it. And she's like, write them in there. You'll get to it eventually. I was like, okay, fine. And we were talking about like a foundation is so important, right? Building the foundation first. And I found that my foundation would be one-on-one. So then from that, like all these things came out of it. And then, so that was group programs. And then the mastermind came out of that because I realized like, this is not the Jackie show. This is not the like, let me teach you everything. What I discovered my magic was even stronger in was in mentorship and how to hold a container and how to help women support each other. So getting into a container and creating a mastermind, we're all like shoulder to shoulder, like-minded women, self-led, and we're helping each other. And I just have a very natural ability to hold the container and help other people feel comfortable and sharing and serving and all that stuff. So that's where the mastermind came birthed out of. And so the 6-week programs were coaching, and this was mentorship. And then you're going to laugh how retreats came about. I went to so many retreats with other people's stuff. My client of 3 years sends me a Facebook message and goes, I'm tired of you going to other retreats. Here's a house, do your own. She sent me like a VRBO. And I was like, okay, girl, call me out on it. I get it. So I clicked the button. It was this gorgeous Outer Banks house, and it had like all these rooms and on the beach. And I was like, okay. And I was like, and then I saw the $10,000 for the week price tag. I'm like, okay. And she goes, we'll sell some first, get like, and I was like, nope. I clicked the button first. I clicked it and I put my down payment on it. And she's like, that's not what I told you to do. She's like, but I said, no, I said, I believe that this will fill up. And it filled up in 14 days. And that retreat was like one of the things on the list. And I did a membership too. I have a monthly membership. So as I went along, I discovered what the need was, what the desire, and when need meets desire in your magic, that's how you create what it is you're creating.
It just unfolds. It just unfolds this beautiful space of creation. And I think that that's to just support this whole idea, because so many women who come to me and helping to build their business, because I'm more on the growth stage of like really solidifying what it is you need to have foundationally for continual growth. And it's like well, should I get more certification? Should I get more education? And really, I really love what you said earlier about you're the expert in you. Like that's really what people are paying for anyways, is what you now possess as the becoming of you is the thing they're desperately trying to get to, is the becoming of them. And what that looks like is so many different flavors of us, right? And I think that's why it's just so beautiful to say it this way. And there's so much business for everybody. And there's so much collaborative space for everybody.
Yes.
But so you went from coaching to mentorship. That's an interesting flow of dynamic. Why is it different? What is that thing? What is coaching and mentorship? Why did that evolve?
So I have been someone, I went to even college for teaching, as I mentioned earlier, and I've always been someone who loves teaching and helping people see differently, think differently, and then experience life differently. And when you hear that, I used to think it was like the knowledge I could like give, and so here's the lesson, teach it, da 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 da. And then over time, and my 3 pillars are awaken, empower, and own. So I awakened a lot of my vision. We talked about that. And then I've empowered a lot of that through building my business the way it is. But empowering also is part of empowering what you see, even if it feels so different than the industry that you truly are, and then owning that. And so what I discovered in the journey was I'm really great. We can be great at everything, but where we are excellent and extraordinary is in that place, that like magical place we talked about earlier. And for me, it's the mentorship side. So mentorship is, we're not like, it's for women and men, you know, but women are mainly my clientele, but I have served men. But it's where we already know the how. We already know all the strategy. We already know it's what is it that I need to see differently that maybe I can reflect through my mentorship stories, to whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But I no longer, and I do small programs where it's like I'm teaching a concept, and most of it's mindset versus strategy. But it's hard. It's so funny because someone said the other day, so what do you do? And I said, what do you need? They were like, what? And I was like, what I do is what help you figure out what you need and that you already have inside of you, and own it. And then bring out what's already in you.
Beautiful.
And I was tired of trying to be like, I'm the freedom mentor and I help you do. And finally I was like, until you get in my magic, you don't know. How do you know like me versus you versus, so mentorship is really that like that trusting whatever is meant to happen in the energy and just showing up. Because I don't know if I told you the story. I gotta tell you the story real quick. I was not woo-woo. I didn't do any of like I think we agree on that, right? We were both like meditation and tapping and what is all this?
Yeah, right.
Now I love it. Like I love this stuff. And I use all my other resources, the people that are experts at doing it for myself. I don't necessarily teach it.
Absolutely.
But I had an Akashic reading one time, and the lady said to me, you have a core of freedom and love, and all you need to do is show up in the room, and that's enough. I said, what?
Oh.
And I was like, hold on a second, that's cocky. And this was 2 years ago, and I didn't own it at all when she told me. And she's like, no, seriously, you're gonna realize this one day, that all you have to do is show up in the room, and your energy alone, and your and who you represent and what you do, that's all you got to do. You don't have to try. And I was like, okay. You know, when I saw that Wonderful was at the retreat, because I go in with no agenda with my talks, my retreats. Like I don't go in with an agenda. I go with an intention. The intention was for every woman to shift. That was it.
Right.
I had no idea how I was going to go. And I was like, whoo, can you help these women shift? And I asked one question day one. And from that point on, every day just flowed perfectly. And people were just having these massive breakthroughs at this first retreat I ever did. And they were just like, there's like tears and hugging and crying and shifting and laughter and bond and this and that. And I cried at the end of the 3 days. I was like, I don't think I did anything. I don't feel like I did anything. And then
I don't know.
Right. No, wait. My 3-year client turns to me. She goes, what did you say? What did the reader tell you? She's like, you just have to show up. And I was like, oh. So I got it. Like I understood that's part of my being.
Right.
And I say all that to say that's what mentorship looks like. Me just being in the room, I'm able to like reflect. And that's what is, I find that's where I'm getting goosebumps and like chills just even thinking about doing. That's what I get to do.
I think that that's the piece that we are all trying to achieve, but we were trying to achieve it through doing. Right. As women, what we're really good at is doing and action, but not necessarily feeling ourselves through the doing. Yeah. And you really mastered that piece of like, okay, I am the very essence of freedom and love.
Mhm.
right? You just, it's just hard to conceive because it sounds a little like you said, a little woo-woo. I'm like, what? But if we are energy, and
Mhm.
that's all we can be defined by is the energy we're floating around and not our physical exterior. What is that energy? What is that and I had a very similar experience. And again, you don't see it when it's happening, right?
Right.
You don't see it when it's happening. I was at this thing and everybody's kind of like, it's called a birthday blessing, and where they kind of like pour into you the thing you don't know that's happening. And I'll never forget, this woman stands up and she says a very old, like, war cry, a Hebrew war cry. And she says, Rock Kazat Mahat. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is she saying? And she says that it's from Joshua, from the biblical story of Joshua, where he's about to go into this land of giants and stuff. And he says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for I'm with
Mm.
you. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the one verse I remember ever, ever, ever. And she said, you, the very core of who you are is a courageous leader. And I remember thinking,
Mhm.
like, you have no idea what I'm going through right now. There's no, I wanna like dig a giant hole and hide in it for the rest of my life and be consumed by 1,000 ants or whatever. And so it's interesting that you say that, because I think those are the things we all avoid. But it keeps coming
Mhm.
back to us. It keeps coming to seek us. It's pursuing us. So good on you when somebody said, what do you do? And your response was, what do you need?
Mhm.
Right? I think
Like,
that's
what do
a
you
perfect,
desire? What do you,
yeah,
yeah.
it's a perfect entry level into that. Um, so, okay, as we're getting to, I could talk to you for a billion hours.
Right.
However, um, I want to ask you about this very last question I ask all my guests is, if there's somebody listening that's like, oh my gosh, Jackie is speaking my language, but petrified, petrified to take that first step. What would you advise is the top 3 steps to take forward in?
Mm. It's so funny because, like you said, we just have such a journey with so many things. Uh, you know, the biggest one is stop waiting. We all have, well, no, first of all, let me backtrack. First one will be like the vision part, because I thought like I had goals and dreams. Like, we were SMART goals, specific, measurable. Those are so
Right.
boring. Like, corporate America goals are boring. Um, but can you take SMART goals and add in the intention behind it and the journey? So when I do my goals every month, it's intentional goal setting, and it's where I get colored crayons and markers out, and we draw, like, we write out it in different colors, but it's the goal, but with the goal, with the feelings and the
Hmm.
excitement behind it of the journey, because sometimes we can't predict like exactly when we're going to hit the money or exactly we're going to hit
Right.
the amount of our clients. And so start to envision what it is you truly desire. And and I don't know about you, but I find that's one of the hardest parts when I start with somebody who's in the beginning, because I couldn't really vision. I
Right.
was like, well, I want to pay my bills, and that's like as far as the
Yeah.
vision can go sometimes.
Right.
So find somebody to help you vision first. Second is like, um take on the belief that go for it before you know it. Like, take the step, go for something and try something,
Mm.
because you will learn as you go versus staying in this frozen state of like thinking and getting ready and wearing. Take an action. Action begets action, which creates momentum,
Right.
which creates confidence and competency. Everything we need is already in us, but like when you work with someone like, wonderful, like whatever that step is, like, take the step and
Right.
and take the action. Like, don't just, okay, this is great, we created this, and then sit in it. Take the action,
Right.
because ultimately, stop waiting to
Right.
turn whatever that freedom vision is into the reality you deserve, and live life now. Don't wait.
Mm.
Live life now. I had
Mm.
this amazing post and then it got frozen. It didn't post, but I was just putting out today right before our call, which is hilarious. It was like stuck in the spinning zone. I was like, it's okay. And I was talking in it about like we were trained to live, like we talked earlier, like we were trained to create, like to live a life after 65 and to wait, like work hard, do all the things, save the money, and then enjoy it. No,
Right,
enjoy it
right,
now,
right,
create your dash now, so that when you, if you die tomorrow for any reason, your life,
right,
you get to say, and I turned to my husband
right.
the other day and I said, I'm totally fine with leaving this earth if I had to, because I'm fulfilled in
Yeah.
what the moment, because you mentioned earlier that I'm a nomad, right? And you asked me and I haven't answered it yet. I just realized I didn't answer it. But jumping into an RV was something that we decided after COVID, when we couldn't travel the world. We like had on the
Hmm.
vision board, right? It had like
Right, right,
Italy, Greece,
right.
all the things. And COVID stopped that. And I was like, well, how can we pivot and continue to travel? And that's when the RV came into play. And then of course he was like, my last kid is going in the Marines, let's go. And so we left. And so nomading life is a version of my freedom life, to be able to see the world now and work and
Mm,
make money and fit all that into it and experience life and not stop like waiting. Cause why? And we get trained, like save all the money and don't spend it. Oh my God. If we can just learn how to enjoy
not do that.
spending money,
Yeah.
yeah, enjoy making money, enjoy investing money into your future, into your goals and your dreams, enjoy spending, saving, making all of the things. The whole thing is
Right,
important now. Stop waiting.
right.
So that's my big thing.
Yeah.
Hope I
That,
answered the question.
you know what? That's a mic drop moment, and it's a great place to kind of end that end our conversation, which I don't want to because I could talk to you forever. But I think that just really brings to light all the ways that we women have oppressed our own selves. And I'll even go a little bit further and say betraying ourselves by knowing that's what we want, but we don't do it.
Mhm,
Right. And living now is a concept,
mhm,
not an actual thing, when actually that's what makes you so magical, is because you're living the thing that people think is just conceptual. Like it's
mhm.
just an idea, but really you're like, no, if I can do it, you can do it. And that's another
Right.
phrase that so many people say, but they still don't do it. But like you said, you don't grow unless you are in it. Like you're not really learning unless you're a part of the thing you're trying to learn. You can't think it through, you can't ponder it through, you can't do
Right.
any of that. You have to actually embody the thing that you're trying to learn from, which is
Yes.
good and bad because
Yes.
pain sucks too. But the only way to get out of it is to go through it, right? Like it's not all
Yes.
roses and cherry pie, but there is moments that
Everything,
are hard.
everything is happening for us. All of the things, it's all happening for us. And if we could truly see why everything is happening for us, and
Mhm.
own that, and know that whatever we want our future, whatever we desire in the future, right, we've got to
Mhm.
imagine it and live in it now. I love what you just said. That, I'm glad you said that, because
Yeah.
that's a great thing for them to leave with too, is everything that we have in the world, this water bottle, this
Yeah.
computer, this phone, started in the imagination, and then
Right.
comes, so your
Absolutely.
future starts with imagination. So you got to think different to experience something different. If you think the
Right.
same way you think today, you will get the same thing you have today.
Absolutely.
So so
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Mm.
mean, and then just to, I see it's never going to end because there's one more
One more
thing.
thing. One more thing.
I'm reading this book called Body Keeps Score, and it's a
Oh.
whole, oh my God. And he talks about how trauma, what really hurts us individually in trauma, is the lack, how it's corroding our very imagination, because imagination is literally the thing that wakes us up, because we're imagining what life can be for that day. We're imagining we're not going to talk to that guy at the water cooler. We're imagining, right, all of this
We're
stuff. And
feeling
when
it
he,
too.
yes, but when he said that, I thought, oh my gosh, that's big, big, huge, because you don't
Hmm.
really think that that's what you're doing, but that's what you're doing every second of every step of your life, is imagining what this phone call was going to be like, imagining what the phone call will be like after, kind of thing,
Right.
right?
Right.
So that, I think, is the best advice for all of you out there in the audience, is take heed to what our beautiful freedom mentor, has just given us all of her love and her energy. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for, I mean, we kind of had some technical issues in the beginning, and that didn't stop us. So thank you. I
Mhm.
adore you. I love you, Jackie. Thank you for your time. And until next
Thank
time,
you.
thank you for joining us at the Evolution of the
Mwah.
Fempreneur. And goodbye.
Then Lead Her Biz Academy is the online business education platform for you. Our strategically minded and purpose driven approach will equip you with the tools, knowledge, and support you need to build a successful business and achieve your goals. Now, why women specifically? Because when women earn more money, we not only have more influence and choices, but we also create opportunities for others. And building a successful business allows us to support those we love and the causes we care about most. At Lead Her Biz Academy, we understand that women are already strong. That's why we focus on helping women unlock their authentic power and their capacity to attract wealth and impact other women. We believe that feminine presence is the key to unlocking your full potential as a successful female entrepreneur. So if you're ready to take your business to the next level and unlock your authentic power, join us at Lead Her Biz Academy. Let's make an impact and build profitable businesses together.
Thank you for tuning in to the Evolution of the Fempreneur podcast, where we empower and support women on their entrepreneurial journeys. We hope you found value in today's episode and feel inspired to take action towards your goals.
At Lead Her Biz Academy, we believe that every woman has a potential to achieve her dreams and create a successful business. Our community of like-minded women provides a supportive space for learning, growing, and connecting with other fempreneurs. If you're already on your entrepreneurial journey and seeking to take your business to the next level, consider joining Lead Her Biz Academy today. Our programs, courses, and resources are designed to help you develop the skills, mindset, and strategies you need to succeed in your entrepreneurial endeavors. Thank you again for listening to the Evolution of the Fempreneur podcast. We'll be back soon with more insights and inspiration to help you thrive in your business and life.